That was a sharp extension of Rule 6. But essentially, I think this requires to be handled at the constitutional plane. And I would therefore propose a twofold method of dealing with it. One, an amendment to the Constitution. Now, this touches upon the issue which you put to Mr. Agarwal, that while being appointed, this will apply prospectively.
Yes.
Judges, while being appointed in the first instance, should be appointed only in states where they do not have any relatives practicing. The degree of relatives, the degree of relationships involved could be taken from Rule 6. It could be patterned on Rule 6. Right. It's comprehensive enough. But it cannot, of course, be applied retrospectively. So, judges who have already been appointed, there is need to reactivate the transfer policy, and that can be done only by the Chief Justice of India. He has started the process. As I said, 2 out of 3 judges who have been transferred from the High Court are embodiments of this problem.
Right. Anupam, you talked about Justice B.K. Roy's tenure.
Yes.
I think that is then when this issue hit the headlines in Punjab and Haryana High Court. And I remember Justice Roy saying that it is generally believed that A, B, C, D, which is he is referring to the judges, constituted a mutual cooperative society. In the sense, it was believed that each of those 4 judges would protect the sons of the 3 other judges. These are words as serious as this?
These are words which he borrowed. He passed a detailed order as the Chief Justice,
yes,
who has the power to frame the roster, which judge shall hear which case or class of cases. He borrowed these words from Mr. H.M. Sirvai, the late Advocate General of Maharashtra, who wrote them down in his famous commentary on the Constitution. There are differences of degree. As a broad principle, it is as serious as this. As a perception of the public at large, and not only the public, as a perception of a large number of lawyers, especially the younger lot of lawyers, this is true. It may not be true to the hilt in each and every case, but as a principle, as a theme, as a concept, is definitely germane.
Navken Singh, before we go into a break, I want to take your opinion on what Anupam has said, and also what Justice B.K. Roy said, a mutual cooperative society. That's how he referred to the judges.
You see, firstly, I would like to give a reply to what Harpreet said.
Yes.
I never said that all the judges are corrupt, firstly. Secondly, why I have an opinion that the judges transfers whose relatives are practicing over here would not really solve the problem. I am not opposing it. I am saying really solve the problem is because Justice Nirmal Yadav had no relative over here. Now you know very well that people, the Supreme Court who is talking of cleaning the house at Allahabad, they never bothered to even withdraw the work from her. Everybody knows that she took money. A bar association made an application before the special judge wanting to get her prosecuted, but they are really not interested to prosecute her. So why are the things so difficult? It's not only that the relatives who are practicing is the main issue. The issue is corruption.
So coming back to what Justice Roy said, a mutual cooperative society of judges.
That's right. So if a judge is corrupt, you don't need a relative for that. You don't need a relative to be corrupt. You just need an agent.
But the public perception is that, if you have, as the Supreme Court also said, that if you have a judge who is related to you, it is easy for you to get cases and become a multimillionaire, as the Supreme Court said.
Secondly, sir, suppose a judge is practicing in the Supreme Court and his son or son-in-law is practicing in Delhi High Court. What would you do with that? So it's not an issue of transfer. A Supreme Court judge cannot be transferred anywhere. And we know very well that Supreme Court judges have not been also above board. Their wards have been misusing their position. So what to do in that case?
Well, Anupam, I think that's a very interesting point.
So the issue is corruption.
There could be similar instances even at the Supreme Court.
I have spoken on this before, and to that extent, to the extent of involvement of Supreme Court judges and their relatives, I would agree with my dear friend, though not on the other aspects of the matter.
Yes.
The issue of Supreme Court judges and their relatives is a major issue. The non-transferability of the Supreme Court judges in the very nature of things is a major part of the problem, renders it almost irresolvable, and therefore that also, in my humble opinion, but considered opinion, calls for an amendment to the Constitution.
Anupam, a new bill is being brought, Judges Standards and Accountability Bill. Do you think that will make a difference? I mean, the bill does say that the residence of a judge will not be used by the lawyer relatives. The residence of a judge will not be used by the relatives of the judge.
As I read it, this bill does not essentially deal with the problem of nepotism. That's a passing reference in section 3 of the Act, of the bill in the context of a restatement of judicial values. The degrees of relationships given in the explanation to section 3 are broad enough. It's an inclusive definition of relatives. So in place of rule 6 of the Bar Council rules, you can take section 3 if you want to address the issue of nepotism. But unfortunately, that's a major limitation of the Act. It deals with corruption and judicial delinquency in a broad general sense, but not with nepotism per se.
Okay. Now, Kiran Singh, even the 230th Law Commission in its report in 2009 stated about, it said almost the same thing. It actually indicated that a person who has practiced in a certain bar should not be elevated in the same place. Do you agree?
See, I also agree with that. I also would go a step further. I had taken out ethics of the judges of the various countries, and I have those lying on my table. I personally feel now in the developed nations what they have done is, suppose you are practicing in one law firm, and out of that law firm one of the member becomes a judge. So they have made it as an ethic, legal ethic, that nobody from that law firm will be appearing before that judge for a period of 3 years. Here we have seen, suppose why I was touching that it's not only the relative syndrome. No, we know about a judge who did not have a son or any relative, but the junior who was practicing with him, the very next day when the judge was elevated, the junior who got all the briefs of his started appearing before him. So what do you expect him to do? You see, a junior who is working with you, he starts appearing the very next day with you.
To that extent, what the Law Commission said is a good thing, that if a person has been practicing in a particular high court, he should not be elevated there.
He should not be. Plus, there should be I am totally with it that we need to clean our system. The judicial system needs to be clean. Like they said that that no private office is going to be operated from the judge's residence.
Yes.
If we had a CGI whose son was having his business premises in the same house, but we could not do anything against him. So we know that these things are happening. And one other important issue, I have been hearing this since last 20 years, that in the Supreme Court, during vacations, when there is a particular set of judges sitting over on the benches, the vacation judges, a particular set of lawyers only practice in that time.
Okay.
They are not the relatives. In the Supreme Court, you don't engage a lawyer till the case is listed.
So there are societies and societies.
There are, yes.
That's an interesting point. Agarwal,
so rich people are always able to
lawyers who are elevated in the same place. There is a feeling that they know the region well, they know the problems of the place, they know the traditions. So by that yardstick, they'll be able to apply the law more judiciously if they're elevated in the same place. What do you say?
No, I don't agree with that. Judge decides the case according to the place, how the case is put up before him by the two parties. Case law is put up and judge applies his mind on the law. He is not bothered about the traditions. I have seen Justice K.B.N. Singh from Patna, Chief Justice in Chennai. What he used to do, I remember I attended the court as OIC legal cell. A Lalaji came there. Lalaji couldn't speak Tamil. He spoke Hindi. Advocate couldn't put across. He called Lalaji to himself. He said, "मुझे बताओ आपने क्या कहना है? आपका केस क्या है?" He heard him in Hindi.
Okay.
And gave the judgment. He said, "I am here for justice." So to say that an advocate from the same area can do better justice, I am sorry.
What is your take on this?
What I feel, we have very wonderful judges. Judges have to deal with the local laws also, which are particularly in that area only. And I think this would be taken care by the choice of judges. We need to have men of talent and integrity to be chosen as judges. We have no dearth of good lawyers. We have very good lawyers. Two of them are just sitting next to me.
But at this point in time, we're talking about the judges. Now, I remember in 1997, the full court had restated the judicial values of, judicial life, values of judicial life. But that doesn't seem to be happening as of now.
No, that in India, we is the only country who used to follow the Manu Smriti.
Yes.
Nyaya and Sadachar, self-restraint, self-discipline. We are maybe the biggest democracy, but there is no meritocracy now. The mob crazy is there. So it is the basic, we need a moral leadership, not political leadership.
Right, Harpreet, let me ask you about something else. Now there is a proposal of the Union Law Ministry to set up a legal service board. You know, this is on the lines of a similar board in United Kingdom, and this will hear complaints against legal professionals.